Good morning, good afternoon, good evening internet, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, Economical Rides. Well, welcome to 2022. It's not too bad, is it really? So I'm actually filming this on Ruby's birthday, the 2nd of January, and I feel very guilty about doing that. But yes, basically the weather's going to turn pretty grim next week, so I wasn't sure when I'd be able to get out again. So today I have a bit of a treat for you and a bit of a treat for myself. This is a nice road from Zurgena to Lublin. It's the A1101, as you can see there. And for a change today, I'm wearing the camera on my helmet. So let's see how that goes. Let's see if I can keep my head still for long enough. So, as you can see, this is my Meteor, Fireball Yellow. It's done just over 4,000 kilometers now. By the time this video comes out, it should have had its 6-month, 5,000 kilometer service done. So let's hope that all goes well. Now this road's a very nice road. It has a nice flow to it, and for some reason it's always pretty green up here as well. So it's actually quite pretty, particularly at this time of year. So we'll just have a little ride up here. Say hello to 2022 officially. And yeah, I think I might talk about my Royal Enfield history so far prior to the Meteor. I think I've mentioned it in comments before, but I'm sure most of you don't realise I didn't have the best of starts with my Royal Enfield experiences. So during this ride I might tell you a little bit about my previous Royal Enfield experiences prior to the Meteor, and why I'm slightly worried about taking my lovely Meteor in for its 6-month service, because basically I have been burned in the past. So let's go. I hope you all had a good New Year's Eve, and you've all arrived in 2022 fit and healthy, and looking forward to doing lots of riding this year. So visor down and off we go. So yeah, I've mounted the camera to my helmet today, which is something, as many of you know, I've tried to avoid in the past, because I was told by my driving instructor to help me pass the test, whenever I look I should move my whole head, just in case the instructor doesn't see my eyeballs moving. And that seems to have stuck with me, so rather than just moving my eyes about, I tend to move my whole head, which does result in a slightly unsteady picture when I'm out riding with a helmet camera. But anyway, I'm doing my best today to keep my head as still as possible, and we'll just have a nice run up here and enjoy the flow of this lovely road. And I shall tell you about my reasons for my trepidation about the looming 6-month service for my wonderful Meteor. So back in 2004 I purchased a Royal Enfield Bullet 500, which was the original generation. That was with the 4-speed right hand side gearbox. And when I bought that bike brand new, it cost €2,999, and it had a 2-year warranty. So I was living in Germany at the time, so I bought the bike in Germany, and I had it dealer serviced for the 2 years. And then in 2006, at the beginning of 2006, I moved to Spain. So basically, just as the bike it was coming out of warranty. Now obviously, being a good boy, sometimes I took the bullet in for its final service at the end of the 2-year warranty period, and fine. So then I brought the bike over here, transported it over here at great effort, great cost, over to Spain with me, because I thought it'd be nice to ride it out here. And so that was that. So it had been dealer maintained in those first 2 years, but the mistake I made, and that's the mistake I don't want to make with this bike, which is why I'm glad that this bike has already done 4,000 kilometers in under 6 months. That bike had done in 2 years 1,500 kilometers, and that came back to bite me quite royally in the backside. So as you can see here, it's kind of like green and hilly, and in a minute we will get some oranges and lemons to look at as well. Sorry, I digress. Yeah, so I was here and I had my bullet here, and it cost me a fortune to get it registered in Spain, and it was all a real disaster, but finally I had it here, 1,500 kilometers on the clock, 2 years old, lovely jubbly. From now on I'd be doing all of the oil changes myself and the valve adjustment, no problem, we were all good to go. So I'd probably had it over here for about 6 months, and then it was about time when I thought, right, okay, we need to do another oil change. So I got set down, I ordered the oil change kit from our good friends at Hitchcock's, and set about doing my first oil change on the bullet at home. Now, unfortunately, on the bullet there's 2 drain plugs. There's one on the oil tank itself, it has a separate oil tank, and then there's another sump drain plug further forward. So you have to take both of those out to get all of the oil out. So I did that, and when I came to remove the drain plug for the oil tank itself, I cracked it off. It was fine, it wasn't particularly hard to loosen, and as I slowly unthreaded it per hand along with the oil, the thread fell out, little bits of thread. So basically the dealer, in an attempt to stop the drain plug weeping, which it pretty much always did, I tried all sorts of washers on there, different types of washers, it always weeped a little bit, but obviously they weren't happy with it weeping, so they just kept tightening it and tightening it, and basically they stripped the thread. So when I came to do my first ever oil change on my own, the thread came out with the drain plug. So then you're left with a big hole in the bottom of the oil tank, which the drain plug can no longer thread into. Happy days. Fortunately, I had a friend, Rob, who's not averse to getting up to his elbows in bits of engine. He quite likes that sort of thing, and he took a look at it. He said, right, oh, here are the oranges, by the way, and the lemons are coming in a minute. So Rob took a look at it. He said, right, the only thing that's going to work now is we're going to have to get a helicoil set. So I got a helicoil set in the appropriate size. We drilled the new thread in with oversized with the helicoil drill, and then we put in the helicoil itself, and that worked. So although that was a nightmare, it was okay. It wasn't too expensive to sort out. I just had to buy a helicoil kit, and we got that sorted out in the end, so that was not too bad. But it was just an example of a bike that had been dealer maintained all its life, and obviously that wasn't a good thing. They actually broke it for me, so I wasn't best pleased. So that's really why I have trepidation about putting the Meteor in for what's probably going to be a bit more of a complicated service than the 500 kilometer one. So fingers crossed, everybody, that everything goes well and they don't break it for me. But anyway, getting back to the fact that doing 1,500 kilometers in the warranty period wasn't the greatest idea. Once we'd helicoiled the oil tank drain plug, got that sorted, very shortly after that, the bike started clanging. It was going dang, 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 dang. And I mean, it wasn't like the clanging you get when the push rods need adjusting. It was definitely a bad clang. So we had to take the tank off, take the head off, and we discovered that at about, I don't know, 1700 kilometers, one of the valve seats had fallen out of its cylinder, out of the cylinder head. So basically you had a valve seat banging about on the valve and on the piston and everything else. It had just come unstuck from the cylinder head casting. So I've never heard of that happening before. I must have just got extremely lucky. So yeah, great times. So that meant then we needed a new cylinder head and a new piston, because the piston got dinged with the valve seat. So yeah, so that was the next job, and obviously that was a nightmare, and that was a big job. So again, Rob was there to help me out. We managed to get it running again, but that was just the start of a litany of disasters with that bike. I don't know. I mean, it's either a Monday morning bike or a Friday afternoon bike, one or the other. But there was welds were snapping off, brackets were snapping off, just one thing after another. So that bike was the opposite of a positive ownership experience. But fortunately, as you can see, it didn't put me off Royal Enfield for life. I was fairly confident, having read various reports about their more recent bikes, that they'd improve things. So I was quite optimistic that the Meteor wasn't going to be as much of a hassle as the Bullet was, and clearly it hasn't been. It's been absolutely perfect. These 4,000 kilometres I've not touched it. I've just put air in the tyres from time to time and fuel in it. And it's been wonderful. Really enjoyed it. But yeah, the thing is, if I'd have done with the Bullet, if I'd have done 4,000 kilometres in 2 years, let's say, I mean, I've done 4,000 kilometres in 6 months here, so you know, that's a different story. But even if I'd have done 4,000 kilometres in 2 years, that would have been during the warranty period, and most of those things would have gone wrong in that time. And although it would have been incredibly annoying having to take the bike back to the dealer, it would have been his problem to sort it and not mine. So yeah, since then I've vowed to ride any new bike as much as I can during the warranty period, just to make sure it's a good bike, and if it's not a good bike, that it gets sorted to become a good bike. And so that's why I'm very pleased that I've managed to do 4,000 kilometres in just coming up to 6 months with this baby. So yeah, as you can see here, everything seems to be quite green. It's quite unusual for this region. The hillsides go nice and green. So yeah, it's quite different to ride here. So yes, apologies to Ruby for going out on your birthday, Ruby, but unfortunately the weather's going to turn horrible, and I needed to have another video for the second week of January. Yeah, the second week of January. And yeah, at the beginning of that week I should be getting my 6-month service done. So at the time you're watching this, it should have been done, and hopefully the bike's still running well. Right, I'm going to turn around in a minute because I've got to get back home and unleash the Ruby, and also I don't want to have to buy petrol today because that wasn't on my agenda at all. So what we'll do is we'll dive in here, and you can stay with me for the run back. Oh, that'll be a good road, the one to Albanches. I'll have to try that one day. There's so many roads here that I've actually never been down, so that's good news for you and it's good news for me. It shouldn't get boring, but don't expect the weather to be like this for too much longer. I think it's going to turn horrible tomorrow or Tuesday, and then it's going to be wet and cold for at least a week. It'll almost certainly be raining the day I have to go for my service, but it doesn't really matter anyway, because the mechanics make such a mess of the bike, it always needs a wash afterwards anyway. So normally I'd be annoyed about it getting dirty in the wet, but the mechanics do a perfectly good job of getting it dirty anyway, so it would have needed a wash either way. Yeah, this road is well, obviously the surface is pretty good. There is a tree root up here actually that's growing under the road and you can't see it, and when you go over it, it does give your spine a whack. That's a bit of a sneaky one, but yeah, the surface is good and it just has a nice flow to it, and the corners are kind of pretty much all fourth gear, so you can keep your momentum. You might have to drop down to third if it's an uphill exit, but in general you can have a nice ride round here in fourth gear and just enjoy swinging through the bends. But what a lovely way to start the new year, goodness me. But it is unseasonably hot at the moment. I think it's about 20 degrees today, which is definitely not normal for this time of year. And it started on New Year's Eve on the 31st of December, that was the first day. Yesterday, New Year's Day and today were the 3 days where it was going to be nice and warm and sunny. And then I think starting from tomorrow it starts turning cold and wet. So that's why we're out today. And Ruby's celebrating her birthday on her own, but I will make it up to her when I get back. There will be sausages, so I think she usually forgives me when sausages are involved. Well, I hope you're not finding the helmet mount for the GoPro too disorientating. I keep forgetting not to move my head about, I'm terrible. Yeah, but when the road's nice and dry and slightly warm like it is today, you really do feel like these Seat tyres have tons of grip. I mean, I think the only way you'd lose the front is if there was a heap of gravel in the middle of the bend. I think if the road surface is clean, they're really confidence-inspiring tyres. These really like them a lot. So much so that when I need a new set, I'll probably buy exactly the same ones again. If it's not broken, don't fix it. Yeah, but my Bullet was mostly broken and it was fixed a heck of a lot. It was funny because when Himalayan came out, I was thinking about getting one of those, as I've mentioned before, because people were generally positive about them. Certainly by the time they came to the rest of the world, they seem to have got them sorted. So when I said, oh yeah, I might get a Himalayan because I quite fancy one, and everyone knowing my previous adventures with my Bullet, I got quite friendly with the towing people, let's put it that way. It used to cut out quite a lot for no apparent reason as well. It was just a delight. It was a wonderful thing. But yeah, basically all my friends and family were going, don't buy another Enfield, whatever you do, don't do it. But in the end I didn't. While I was still saving up for the Himalayan, or Himalayan for our I saw the launch information about the Meteor. That was at the end of last year. Yeah, the end of last year. No, the year before now. The end of 2020. That's right. And they were saying it was going to launch in Europe and the rest of the world in June of 2021. And then I saw the launch pictures of that while I was still saving up for the Himalayan. And I thought actually that would probably suit me more. The only thing was there was no information about what it was going to cost. So at the time I just thought, yeah, if the price is right, I could definitely go for one of them. But if it's priced the same as the Himalayan or Himalayan, I'd probably go for the Himalayan because it just seems like more bike for the money. But then when the prices were announced and the Meteor came in significantly cheaper, by that time I'd saved up enough to go straight out and get the Meteor as soon as that was that tree route I was talking about. Totally missed it again. So yeah, I got down there mid-June and bought one straight away, and I think I had the first one in the region. I think it was the first one in this part of Spain, because the dealer had only had it a few days when I came along, looked at it and bought it. And that was his first one. So far my bad Royal Enfield experience has been more than eradicated by my good Meteor experience so far. So hopefully that continues. But as I mentioned, I'm at the mercy of the dealership now. I just hope they do everything right and don't mess anything up. Well, this is very nice indeed. What a lovely ride. So 2021 has been and gone. I'm sure as many of you are aware, my channel started in 2021, basically when I bought my Meteor. And I've got an insect in my visor for some reason. And thank you to all of you who've helped me get such a good start with the channel in 2021. It's really been great, the growth that I've had, and getting to know you all and hearing your own Meteor stories has been great. And I look forward to 2022 and continuing in the same vein. I have a few ideas for things I'd like to do in 22 to keep things interesting. I want to mix the content up a little bit, so I do have some ideas about that. I'll talk to you about that in another video, because we're getting to the end of the road here now. So maybe in the next video I'll talk to you about my plans for 2022. But the main thing is I want to keep you all informed and entertained, and I will definitely let you know what's happening with the Meteor. If there are any issues, I'll be doing videos about those issues. So you should get the full ownership experience. It's not just Meteor propaganda on this channel. I will talk about the things that go wrong, if anything does go wrong, and yeah, basically help you to decide, if you haven't decided yet, whether the Meteor's a bike for you. On my channel you shall find out how I'm getting on with mine, and that should maybe give you confidence to make a decision for yourself. But so far, after 4,000 and some odd kilometres, the Meteor gets a wholehearted recommendation from me. I absolutely love it, and it's already feels like the best bike I've ever owned for many reasons which are mentioned in other videos. Check out my 3,500 kilometre review if you haven't done. there I touch on the things which make the bike so special in my eyes. And then there was a subsequent video where I mentioned something that I'd forgotten in that, which was also important. So those two videos should give you a good impression of how I feel about the Meteor, in case you haven't seen them yet. Yeah, this part of the road's really nice as well. It's got a nice flow. You could actually hoon down here with gear abandon if you were so inclined. Right, so we'll stop here and I'll switch everything off. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let's look forward to a great 2022 together. And I look forward to seeing you in my next video, hopefully with a still functioning Meteor 350, which has just had its 6-month service. So thank you very much for watching. There you go, that's the road Lublin from Zergena, the A1101. Thank you for watching. I better get everything switched off and get back to Ruby and unleash the beast, because it is her birthday and she's on her own, poor little girl. But there will be sausages, so yay. Okay, take care, see you again soon, bye bye. Hello, birthday girl, Daddy's back. Hello, birthday girl. Hello, hello. Have you been a good girl? Have you been a good girl? Oh, good times. Yes, birthday girl. Dad's been out on that city motorbike, hasn't he? Yeah. I'm going to eat a salchicha for the YouTube. Ready? Can you sit? Can you sit? Sit. No, sit. All gone. Happy birthday, Ruby. You're 6. Imagine that, 6. Good times.